Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Reverend Amina Bliss, and I'm so grateful to be with you today. It's a beautiful day wherever you are because you make it beautiful. And I'm glad we could join together here with this amazing technology that lets us all be together at the same time in the same place, transcending space and time. So, this is our service freedom a choice. And today we have the amazing Reverend Candice G, one of our faves. So grateful, Reverend Candice, that you're here. And our own Jazzmun Nichcala Crayton is our guest speaker. So I can't wait to hear what they have to say about freedom, because I know they're going to bring it. We meet on the second and fourth Sundays of every month and right here on Zoom. And we hope that you will bring a friend next Sunday and next service and join us, because why not share this love with everyone? And we are really excited about expanding our reach and being able to bring people together and to serve people all over the world. There's so many people and places that don't have access to something like Inspire, who don't know that they can have a relationship with spirit, with God, with love, with all of life, and not be judged for their sexual orientation and anything about them, that they are in a place of non-judgment right here at Inspire. And so please let everybody know that they can be a part of this too. I also want to, speaking of being a part of things, I want to share my gratitude for our service committee. And they're an amazing group of people. It's Tom Hennessy, Garrick Angel, Tamara Pickering. And I really want to give a special shout out and thank you to Tamara. She has been our Zoom support specialist for like at least a year and a half. She's been absolutely amazing. And she's going off to do another venture. And so we just want to send her off with love and best wishes and thanks and gratitude. And yeah, Tamara, you've just been a joy and delight, and really glad to get to know you and just appreciate your service so much. And so that also means we need some help with Zoom. So if there's folks who are Zoom inclined, please let us know, because this is not my best thing, and we definitely need some extra support. So please reply to that service reminder email, or send me a note if there's something here at Inspire that you think that you can be helpful with. We'd love to talk to you more about that and have you join this amazing team. So with all that said, let's move into the meditation. All right, so settle in, take a deep breath of love and gratitude. So grateful to take this moment to breathe in love, breathe in gratitude, and exhale, just letting go of anything that's crowding our minds, letting go of any worries, cares, or concerns, and just opening up to the free flow of God's love as our life. We continue to breathe. So grateful that we always have this breath. We always have this connection to ourselves and to spirit. All we need to do is stop, pause, and breathe. And as we breathe and we sink more deeply into love, more deeply into our center, so grateful to take this time to turn within. We imagine light filling our bodies, filling our minds. As we breathe, the light expands even more. Focus on this light, knowing it represents God, it represents love, it represents unity. It connects us all together. And as we deepen into this light expansion, our heart expands, our minds expand. The love we feel for ourselves and each other and humanity expands. We're connected. We're one. And being in this state reminds us that. We're grateful. And we can take just a couple of minutes in this silent place, reflecting on this love, this light, this unity, and sending it out to each other and to the entire world. And staying in this space, I'm grateful to speak a word of blessing for this service. Mother, Father, God, beloved, infinite intelligence, all of life, how grateful I am for this moment here and now in my beloved, inspired spiritual community. So grateful for the love that is here, the acceptance that is here. So grateful for this connection. We bless this service. We know that it is perfect. We know that Spirit speaks through us and as us. We bless Reverend Candice, Jazzmun, and all who are taking part. We bless our entire community, remembering our oneness, our divinity, the love that connects us always. We're so grateful to share this with each other and with everyone because we're one. In gratitude, we release this word, we allow it to be, and so it is. Amen. Hello, dear ones. I'm so excited to be together today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now let's bring up Reverend Tom for our namaste and mission statement. Reverend Tom.
Hello, everyone. The word namaste is a Sanskrit word meaning I salute the God in you. The God in you salutes the God in me. And it's a very powerful statement, just a word as it is, but yet very so powerful. So we put our hands in a prayer position on our heart. And we bring it up to our lips, to our third eye, back down to our lips, and back to our heart, leaning forward to saying, Namaste. The God in me salutes the God in you. The God in you salutes the God in me. Important now for our mission statement, which is now up on the screen. Inspire is a spiritual community of like-minded souls committed to walking our talk in joyous fellowship by demonstrating the power of love, compassion, and non-judgment every day in every way. Recognizing the divinity of all life, we stand united by actively liberating humanity by healing judgment, fear, and shame within ourselves. Our intention to create world peace, piece by piece. Woohoo! And now it's my great pleasure. I've known this lady for several years. So, and I introduce to you Miss Jazzmun Nichcala Crayton.
Oh my God, amazing. Thank you so much, Reverend Thomas.
Mhm.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to see everyone. It is an honor and a privilege to be here and to talk about freedom. Before I start, I just want to quote Bell Hooks. She said, when we are loving and openly honest, when we are loving, we openly and honestly express care, affection, responsibility, respect, commitment, and trust. And this piece that I'm going to read, I wrote literally out of frustration. So a friend of mine sent me this thing by Love Ninja. It's called "When You're Frustrated, Make Art." Unemployed, work on your art. Brokenhearted, turn the pain into art. To challenge the status quo, make revolutionary art. Imposter syndrome, make more authentic art. Need to make a living, get creative, make art. Because that's what artists do. So the reading I'm going to read is a piece that I wrote about freedom on the 4th of July. I said, oftentimes when you see me acting on TV, that's affirmative action working at its best. I'm clearly aware of my talents, although sometimes I know that they've selected me solely based on the fact that I am Black, queer, transsexual, and a drag queen. I love being an American art. I know that my freedom is not free. Therefore, I would like to express my gratitude to the ancestors who paved the way for me to spring forth into my own personal greatness. My hope on this day of independence is that we remember why we march, vote and fight for our freedom and for our rights. This rolling back and dismantling of laws that were intended to govern the lives of POC, women, and the LGBT communities is ridiculously irresponsible and will have dire consequences on all Americans. We can never go back to anything that did not support all of our momentum, progress, and accomplishments. Also, please do not be misled by different interpretations of scripture and what Jesus said. We are a great nation of free thinkers. We cannot allow the government to weaponize Jesus Christ on us. I believe in separation of church and state. What's most important here is self-autonomy. It's self-evidence that all people are free. Stay woke and get free, queens. And just a little caveat to that. I'm so grateful for what we're able to say, do, and accomplish here at Inspire. Like when I was first introduced to Inspire through Reverend Jesse, I was having some spiritual challenges, right? There was a real disconnect, and I was not free in that moment. But through this process and through this journey, I've been open to the thought of unbound freedom, and I learned that here. So I just want to continue um, practicing, growing, and expanding in my freedom. Thank you.
Fabulous. Jazzmun, thank you so much. I have to say, I just so appreciate you sharing all of those thoughts. And what really struck me was talking about, this is what artists do when the range of emotions make art. And that's one of the things that I love so much about the process of spirituality and art, and that you make something beautiful out of pain, out of suffering, out of struggle, and that it transforms, it transmutes all of the feelings of upset, disturbance, despair into something beautiful that can be shared with the collective. And that's healing, and that's freedom. When I read your post, Jazzmun must share this. I really want to have that into this space. The Way of Mastery talks about dropping a pebble into the water, and what are you dropping in? And I wanted that in our water. So thank you, Jazzmun. Really appreciate you and appreciate your presence and participation in this community. Thank you. And now I'm so excited to bring up Reverend Candice to share with us. It's always so good to have you, Reverend Candice. Reverend Candice G, everyone.
Good morning. First of all, did you all hear what Jazzmun had to say? I can't add to it, so I think we're good. I was so excited just to come this morning and be with you all. And when I saw that Jazzmun was doing the God Shot, I was really, really happy and excited about that. I love the theme of the month, freedom, a choice, of course, because it is. And, when I was sitting with this, one of the things that came to me this morning is one of the, early books that I found in New Thought when I first started studying these principles. And it is a book called Lessons in Truth by Harriet Emily Cady. She was one of the early writers. As a matter of fact, the Unity, which is another body of New Thought, this is one of their main textbooks that they used. And so what came to me was the first chapter in the book. The title of it is called Bondage or Liberty, which goes in line with our theme, the choice. Because what we find is, as we uncover and discover more about who and whose we are in truth born free, all of us. We know this because we have been created in the spiritual image and likeness of what we call God, but you can call it life, you can call it love, you can call it the presence, but by whatever name you call it, that's our real nature. We are that first before we're born into a flesh suit. And so because of this, because of the power that we are given spiritually, and as we know this and live in this, we express this to a greater extent in our lives. And so we always are at a choice point, am I free in this moment? Have I become in bondage to an old thought that I'm having, or an old pattern, or an old behavior? So we want to remember that we always have the ability to choose, to decide, to begin again and again and again and again through our breath, through our deep desire to be awake, so that we can give more art. So, okay, where would humanity be without it? The artists are the mystics. They are the people. We are the people that get to bring out the highest and best in humanity through our art, through our practice, through the gifts that we get to share. Now, what happens in our life, I think, is, we move through our life, we go through what we call the dust and grit of the journey, or this means experiences that we have. And sometimes those experiences cause us to fall into forgetfulness. And what happens if we're in forgetfulness, that means that we are subject to falling asleep and becoming or expressing more bondage in our own thinking. And so we have to have a spiritual practice, that takes us out of the forgetfulness and back into the remembrance of who and whose we are, and that we do in fact have the power to be greater than we were even a moment ago in the breath that we just had. And one of the things that she says, every person believes themselves to be in bondage to the flesh and to the things of the flesh, and all suffering as a result of this belief. Now, I just want to say, she's not talking about your beautiful, fabulous body. She's not talking about your sex life. She's not talking about that when she's talking about being in bondage to things of the flesh. She's talking about the things, being in bondage to selfishness, to greed, to hatred, to the negative emotions, materialism, whatever that is. You see, we have to free ourselves from those temptations so that we can live full out and give the love that we came here to give the art that we came here to give, being your fabulous self. So, within us is always the ability to have mastery, authority, and dominion over what we think, over how what we believe, how we act in the world, and how we react to stuff. And that's the good news, by the way, because if we didn't, we would be, robots that just walked around, attached to whatever thought forms were going on without the ability to change, without the ability to grow, to deepen, to expand our conscious awareness of who and whose we are. And so, I want to make three main points today. I think there's three main things that we can utilize so that we can be free and live in freedom. And one of them is self-love. Starts with that number one. How many of you are in a conscious practice of self-love? Okay, are you being good to yourself? Are you being kind to yourself? Are you engaging in something, some sort of activity or practice that allows you to remember how loved you are by the presence, you see, first and foremost? Because when the love that you have for yourself meets the love that the presence of God, of love, has for you, you're in that at one-ment. Okay, there's nothing outside of that. Are you doing things that promote your spirit, like singing, dancing, playing, just being open and receptive to new ideas? You see, everywhere that you go, everywhere that you are, you have an opportunity. We have an opportunity. I have an opportunity to practice a greater degree of self-love. And I do have my own practices with this. Some of you might be taking a walk. It might be being in nature. It might be your stillness time. It might be writing a poem or whatever it is, because you have to find out what it is that makes you feel the most centered in your life, the most connected to the source, the most willing that you can possibly be to cheer yourself on. Like, go Candice, go Candice, go Jazzmun, go Garrett, go. All of us, okay, get to do that. We have the opportunity to do that, but we just need willingness. So self-love is very, very, very important, okay? And especially in a time like this where we're hearing all manner of everything coming from the outer all of the time that is trying to bombard us and snatch our attention. And it's very easy to happen nowadays. We know that. We know what's going on out there. But you have to be reminded that you have choice. You still have choice. They cannot get this. They cannot have that. That is yours and yours alone. You live in there. You're living inside of yourself. So are you doing a dance with yourself? Are you having a roomy moment with yourself? Are you doing something that is really floating your boat? That's what you get to do. And I just want to encourage us and remind us that this self-love is paramount, because guess what? And I know you all know this, you cannot give what you do not possess. If you're going to go out and love other people, particularly our enemies, so-called, people that vex us, that cause us challenge, if we're going to be able to do that, we got to have some self-love going on up in here, okay? We have to develop this, because it's easy for me to love you because I know you're all loving, but what about that one over there that just said a harsh thing or gave me a mean look or honked or did something else, gave me the elbow or the, what about that person? How am I going to react to that? And how am I going to respond to that? But when you love yourself, you know, you always remember that it's not about you, like whatever's going on in the outer, as long as I'm clean and I'm keeping my side clean, I don't have to worry about what everybody else does. And as a matter of fact, the more loving and self-loving you are, sometimes people have an issue with that if they're not living in their truth and in their own authenticity, which leads me to point number 2, authenticity. Now, I want you to think about this. We are here to be ourselves. That's all we're here to do and be, nobody else. That development has to happen, gets to happen, is allowed to happen through our own spiritual growth, development, and unfoldment, okay? One of the greatest, I think, mistakes or challenges that humanity faces is in being our real self, without apology, without reservation, giving ourselves permission. This is why you have to have the self-love first, to be whoever we're meant to be. Now, you know that this can sometimes upset the apple cart. People may not like that, but that is okay. You get to do it and be it anyway. Because if you're not cheering yourself on, if you're not buoying yourself up, if you're not lifting yourself up, how are you going to go out in the world and be your fabulous self? And you all know, because somebody has touched you in your own life, somebody's touched me in my own life, the more authentic a person is, the more we gravitate to that person, that energy, right? It's like a magnet. We're pulled over there, we're pulled over there, because we know that that person is living their truth. They're speaking from a real authentic place. And people that do not understand this and that want to, you know, have hate going on or whatever it is, they're living in that, not you. Your job and your charge for all of us is to be our authentic self, you see. And if it upsets people, you just bless them on your way. And see what happens, you know, when we're kids, we're all born free. We are, you know, kids they're so spontaneous, you know, they tell the truth, they blurt out anything, they're in joy, they're free, they haven't picked up this dust and grit of the journey yet. So it's a really good example and a reminder every time. And I put myself in places where there's kids, like I go to the park and I walk. There's a beautiful park down here with a big, huge pond, and, you know, there's kids that are always playing, and I love that. And I love just to sit and watch, because it reminds me of their inherent freedom, that they're living authentically. They haven't been taught to, don't do that, don't say that, they're not even in that. And so for us, you know, we've got to be compassionate to ourselves as we're moving along, and we're saying, you know what, I am going to live full out. I'm going to be my authentic self, no matter what. That is my commitment to me, because it just might assist someone else along the path. So it's very, very important to do that. And, you know, if you think about a time or a moment in your own life when everything was clicking, you know, all the cylinders were clicking, and your dopamine, your serotonin, your oxytocin was right there, and you just feel fabulous, that's the moment I'm talking about. Because at that moment, you are free. You're living in your freedom because you're living in your authenticity, you're living in your truth, and you don't have to concern about anything else. You don't concern about it because it's not even in your energy. So how to do that over and over and over again, how to do that day after day after day, we do that through our spiritual practice. Now, I just got back Friday from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I serve on the executive board of the International New Thought Alliance, and they just had the 108th annual, what we call Congress, that they do every year. It's a conference. And we have speakers that come in from the different bodies of New Thought. So we'll have somebody from CSL, somebody from Unity, somebody from the Universal Foundation for Better Living, et cetera, and so on and so forth. In fact, my brother, Reverend Skip Jennings, was one of our speakers. Yes, I know he's spoken here with you all. And so I was down there in Fort Lauderdale. Now, I know that all of you know all about what's going on in good old Florida, where they're trying to whitewash history, okay, ban books, legislate all of this malarkey against our community, the LGBTQIA plus community, people of color, immigrants, just, this kind of nonsense is going on there. Now, the venue host for our conference this year was the Sunshine Cathedral. Now, Sunshine Cathedral is a gay church down in Florida who is ran by a beloved colleague, mentor, and dear friend of mine, the Reverend Dr. Jarrell Watkins. And him and his husband, Robert Griffin, are the ministers, the senior ministers of this church. Now, I want to share this with you because we're talking about authenticity and we're talking about being free. Now, you can just imagine, being a very out loud gay church in South Florida, what that must be like. And I asked him, I said, do you guys get, cuckoo people here from time to time? He said, oh, yes, girl. He said they protest outside they picket, or they'll walk around sometimes. Sometimes they're trying to do the rosary water and, get out of there, Satan, and all this other stuff. And what I love about him is he's so committed. Jarrell is so committed to being his authentic self. And in the foyer of their church, they have postcards. And I hope you can all see this. I want you to see this. And if you can, I'm going to tell you what it says. Here is a postcard. You see that? So Sunshine Cathedral's address is up here. There's your stamp here. Do you see who it's addressed to? Governor Ron DeSantis, state capital, Florida, and then there's the address. Okay, can you see that? So he has these postcards, and on the back it shows a picture of their church, and I hope you can see that. Gay, 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 gay. This is all says gay, 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 gay. So this is how he and this community is in authenticity, right? Because there's choice there, okay? So in other words, when you have nonsense going on, you get to combat it. And I said to him while I was there, I said, you know what I love about you, Jarrell, is that you always flip the spiritual birdie to haters. And he does it in love because he has such a giant radiating heart of love. But it's like, oh no, I am not going to allow you with whatever you're trying to do here. You're not going to win. I'm still going to love you anyway. And I'm going to be my fabulous self. They've got all kinds of performances there all the time. They have a performing arts center there as well. And they have drag queens. And as a matter of fact, Jarrell recently was at the Unity of Nashville Church doing a sermon in drag. So, and he happens to be a real Bible scholar. He is a Bible scholar. And so he does, whenever they started getting on him about being blasphemous, he decided to do a weekly or monthly Bible study in drag. So that's what he does, Bible in drag. That's it. And I love that. So I'm sharing that with you because we all get to, witness other people that are living their fabulous, authentic life and sharing that with each of us. Because if one person can do it, we all can do it. And that's the good news. We get to be our magnificent, fabulous self. And remember, again, as you live in your authenticity, you're not going to be for everybody, but you're going to be for yourself and you're going to be for somebody. And you don't know who that somebody is out there that needs you to be your magnificent self so that you can help give them permission to shine and radiate their light as well. We are those beings of light. So it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity just to remember how important self-love is, living your authentic life. And it is so simple. I didn't say it was easy, but I said it's simple. But it does get easier with practice, with practice and with practice and with practice. I'm sure you all have your own story and your own testimony that you could give. You know, I was once, you know, at one point in my life when I was early on, when I first came out to myself, I was so afraid to be out. And I'm sure many of you may relate to this over the course of your life. I've been on the planet a while, and it took me a long time. This was in my teens. And so I went through a whole lot of, you know, honestly, nothing's wasted but time that I didn't know who I was. I didn't know whose I was. And so a lot of my thoughts, you know, behaviors, actions, reactions were emanating in that manner until I woke up to who and whose I was. And as I have done this, as you have done this, as we do this, what happens? Some rooting happens. Then you don't just blow around in the wind. People can say any old thing, but you're going to keep on stepping. You're going to keep on practicing self-love. You're going to keep on sharing yourself, rooting for yourself, rooting for your peeps, for our community, and for all of those who need to hear our authentic voice. So being true to yourself, living in authenticity, it cannot be, you know, overstated enough. Just give yourself permission. And even if you are a little bit, you feel a little bit reticent or concerned, just stick your toe in anyway, whatever it is. Just put your toe in the water and give it a step, because once you start walking towards the light that you are, guess what? It gets easier and easier and easier, and the wattage, it is booming. You can see it, you can feel it. And you're walking into your own truth, you're walking into your own light, you're walking into your own brilliance, your own creativity, your own magnificence, and you can walk into it and toward it because it's already there. It's actually coming from you, beaming out and projecting and reflecting back to you. So being authentic is so important. Just give yourself permission for that. Now, another point I want to make is service. This is another point. This is another tool. And you know me, I couldn't do a talk without bringing up the scripture, because I am a Bible-loving lesbian, because I love the scriptures and I love the truths that they teach. And in scripture, in Galatians chapter 5, verse 13, it says, "For you were called to freedom, people. Only do not turn your freedom into an opportunity for the flesh," meaning me, "but through love serve one another." Through love serve one another. And again, what he's saying, what Paul is saying, is to avoid selfishness and serve one another in love. Treat one another with kindness, dignity, and respect. Okay? When we do this, we generally get that back. I'm going to give out, and even if you don't give me that, I'm going to give it to you anyway, because you deserve it, because you are a child of the divine. You have some inherent goodness in you. We all do. And so you get that anyway, because it's not even about me. If people don't give that back to you, don't look for that outer, you know, recognition. Do it because you know inside of yourself, because you have met yourself. Do that, give that, offer that, because you know that you can. You see, we bless ourselves, we build ourselves, we allow ourselves to grow and unfold as we give ourselves permission to shine. There's always going to be stuff, you know, going on in the outer. And I think the most important thing, you know, in staying free, being free, again, is just being ourselves. And, you know, if I could say anything, I just want you all to spend some time this next week, you know, because our teaching has to be practiced. That's the thing, right? We have to have some tools, you know, tools, guys, tools, ladies and gentlemen, tools, right? That's why we meditate. That's why we pray. That's why we come together like this in services like that. This is why we study together, or we read, or we call one another and pray for one another, so that we can stay lifted, we can stay in remembrance of who and whose we are, we can stay in remembrance that our freedom is inherent within us. And you think about different people in history that have gone through great trial, that have been burnt through the fire, that there is an alchemy that has happened and how they have come out on the other side. I think about Elie Wiesel spending all those years in the concentration camp. I think about people like Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison and came out clean, unscathed. Okay. I think about people like Malcolm X, who also came out clean. People that Dr. King, what his love ethic was all about. There's been so many examples. I think about modern day examples. I read Viola Davis's autobiography, was absolutely amazed. Just people living in their truth and in their authenticity, willing to share their story, how it gets messy in the kitchen, so to speak. You all understand what I mean. Life is not always easy. I just came back and I had several opportunities to practice this very thing that we're talking about this morning. I cannot stand here and talk to you about any of this if I am not practicing it, if I'm not living it. And we all have our moments, and I had mine, but I'm always reminded, where are you? Where's your attention, Candice? Where are you right here, right now in this moment? Oh, the O is, if I'm not in center, the O is, oh, okay, not let me think of this as a heavy thing, but just take a breath. I see. Okay. That's an interesting thought. When you were starting to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole there, you see, because the mind, what does the mind do? The mind makes stuff up. One of my first spiritual teachers taught me, it's one of the first things I learned. I'm so thankful to her for this. Candice, you can't believe everything you think. Your thoughts will lie to you, girl. Oh, so that, because why? Because of the history, right? Because we have experience, we have things that have happened to us. So we have to remember that sometimes it's not truthful. And if any of you have ever heard something like this, you're not good enough. You don't look this way. You don't have this amount of money in the bank. You're not. That is all a lie. That stuff is the sea of mental garbage. It's lying to you. And we get to, when we catch that, we get to come back to center and say, you know what? Here I am. And we come back and we get to do it again. And so it's important, if you're going to be free, if you're going to stay free, if you're going to live free, just to be able to be with yourself. Don't beat yourself. Don't even waste time on that. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep on stepping. And okay, what that means is, the quicker you make peace with whatever you think isn't beautiful and magnificent about you, the quicker you do that, the better, the easier, the greater expression that you get to participate in of yourself, of your incarnation. Okay, so don't sit there and ruminate on this, that, and the other. If there's something that you realize, hey, I could have done that better, okay, great, that's great information. And then we make a commitment. Okay, next time I'm going to do that better. I'm going to say that better. I'm going to be easier on myself when some situation happens to me that I don't care for. You see, we are designed to overcome and come over. How many times have I said it? And those other people that I named and many others, and you can think about your own life, peruse your mind on who you have always admired and looked up to, because they overcame great odds. And it might be yourself, by the way. I consider myself in that when I think about my own life's journey, because I've had some stuff, and we all have. I've had some real stuff, but I'm grateful because I know the truth that keeps me free, that has set me free, that allows me to be free, and I'm going to choose to be free. So when we think about bondage or liberty, which one? We're saying liberty. We're saying victory. We're saying, yes, I can. Yes, I will. Yes, I'm able. I can do all things through what? The Christ light, the divine presence, the wattage of pure spirit, okay, the presence of good, whatever you want to call it. I can do all things through that energy, through that force. So our job is to keep ourselves lifted. That is our job, and our job so that we can stay awake. And then we live from that place. Life gets easier. Life gets better. It doesn't mean we're not going to have challenges. As long as you're wearing a flesh suit, honey, you're going to have challenges all the time. They're going to come at you every which way. But we breathe. That's why we have breath. We breathe. We settle ourselves down and in. We remember, oh, let me just decrease my heart rate right now. Let me allow my blood pressure to go back to homeostasis. That's what we're doing through all of it. So if you have to, if you have to write something on your forehead, breathe and relax. Breathe and relax. Breathe and relax. Cheer yourself on, root yourself on so that you can go free and stay in that freedom. Now, another thing, so we want to be kind to ourselves. We want to be authentic. We want to be in service. Do something for somebody you don't know. Now, this doesn't cost any money. I mean, that's fine too. That's fine too. But you can smile at somebody you don't know. You can greet them and say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hey, how you doing today? You can start a conversation. There's all manner of opportunities every single day. And don't you know, beings of light, that the world needs us. They need us. The world needs us. The world needs people who are committed to loving full out no matter what. The world needs people who are willing to smile, to give a word up, to remind others about who and whose they are, and that they do and have infinite possibilities within. Just as you have all connected with the presence inside of you, and you're living from that place to the greatest degree that you can do this, you have this opportunity to deliver more and more and more of yourself. Again, that's all we can ever ask of ourselves. And that's where the difference is made on this planet. So just stay committed, and have a ball when you're doing it. Go for it. Go for it. You have to have an inner light, an inner fire, an inner something that will compel you out into right action, that will compel you out into some sort of a movement. But you don't do the movement until you've had a movement inside first. The movement's got to come within first. The rooting, the cheering, the stuff has to come in again. Self-love, authenticity, and service. And those three things will carry us far. They will carry you, me, us, individually and collectively far in our life. So again, we want to prioritize our spiritual unfoldment. We want to prioritize us first and foremost, to be loving to self, to be kind to self, and that whenever that voice comes in and starts telling you about a bunch of lies, you just lovingly say, you know what? You can just keep right on stepping like a cloud going through your awareness. You just breathe it out and let it go. And you might have to do it a few times, right? That's why Jesus taught us 70 times 7, right? Forgiveness, right? Because unconditional love equals perpetual forgiveness. Never ending, unending, meaning I let go and I let God. I let go and I let God. I'm already forgiven. The presence loves me so much it can't contradict its nature. I am love. So what am I sitting here wasting time on that for? Again, just let that go. Make peace with your stuff. Shine your light. Give your gifts. Root yourself on and be free today. That's what I got for you this morning.
Fantastic. Thank you, Reverend Candice. Beautiful. So helpful. Such beautiful reminders of the truth. And what I love, the authenticity in this community, I think is so, so valuable. And I love what you're saying about it, because we really do show other people the way to be authentic themselves, help them, support them in feeling comfortable that they can do it too. And that is just incredibly valuable. So thank you for that. I love these 3 points: self-love, authenticity, and service. That's our way to freedom, folks. So I think we do have a couple moments for questions. If anybody has question for Reverend Candice or for Jazzmun, please raise your hand. Use the raise hand feature, and we will call on you and ask you to unmute. Anyone? And John has typed a message. Thank you, Jazzmun and Reverend Candice, both so right on. Love you both. Thanks, John. We love you.
I think Reverend Tom has his hand up.
Okay, Reverend Tom, go for it.
Okay. What I do a lot of times when I got a nice long mirror in my changing room, and I just look at into my eyes, and I give myself a good hug like this, and I say, "I love you, Thomas. I love myself," and I'll say that a few times, and that's a good mantra for people to say. Do that mirror technique is I love you and I love myself. It's not, it's a reciprocal, but yet it's also, you're just saying I love you and your name, which you are, and you are the love in action. And I got into this teaching through divine science, and which is divine science, religious science, unity, and all of these other stuff. And it's a very good thing to do. And each of us has that time to get into it. And this is what I love about Reverend Candice and with Jazzmun. They're coming from that authenticity. And this is what I love about both of them.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. Yeah, mirror work is a great technique. Good homework for everyone. Do some mirror work this week. And I love what you said, Reverend Candice, about practice. We have to really root ourselves in that. And, it's not just understanding intellectually, it's actually doing it. And that makes us stronger. Do you want to say any more about that or any other comments that you'd like to make, Reverend Candice?
I just want to tell you all that I love you and mean it. And I just want to remind everybody that love is all that there is, and the rest we make up. So just be yourself. Just be yourself and be willing to practice, just commit to a greater level of practice. And remember, you have tools. You've got tools, you have a toolkit. So we all want to use that. And just be, let our light shine.
Thank you. Did you say all there is love and we make the rest up? That's great.
I did.
That's great.
I have a colleague that just wrote a book called Love is All There Is, the Rest We Made Up. And I love the title of his book.
That's fantastic.
Because it is so true. A good reminder.
It is very important to remember that. And yes, the mind does lie. Okay. Anyone else? Anybody else have a question or a comment? Okay, well, I want to do a shout out. Before we go to this, I want to do a shout out to the July birthdays. And my mother, Annis Casals, is turning 80 next week. And I just want to let her know how amazing she is, how much we love her, and what a blessing she is to this world. And I am so proud of her. I'm so grateful to be her child. And I'm so proud of how she walks in this world, what the service that she offers. She makes everyone feel special and comfortable and welcome and seen and loved. And she's the best ever. And so I just had to take this moment. And I also, shameless plug, she has written her second book of poetry that is coming out. We'll have her read from her poetry next month. But I'm so proud of her that she continues to expand, she continues to evolve, she continues to create, and she is an incredible inspiration. So Mom, bless you, we love you, thank you, happy birthday. I love you. Do you want to speak?
I just want to say thank you. That what a lovely, lovely thing to have your child say. And it's my birthday season, and I'm very pleased to be reaching 80 years old, and and know that I still have a lot to do and a lot to learn. And I appreciate all of you in this community and what you mean to me, to Asila, Amina's sister, and to Amina. We love you all. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, Mom. And Reverend Frida's birthday, I think, is the day before yours. And the two of you just are so inspiring, you know, continuing to evolve, continuing to create. You know, Reverend Frida became an artist like maybe 3 years ago. And so she's like, I'm a painter now, and I'm a model now. And I mean, it's just, I love that reminder that we can keep going in our lives and keep expanding and evolving and becoming, you know, authentic, revealing our authentic selves. So thank you for that. And if no one else has any other questions or comments, we'll move on through. I'm so grateful for this community and your love and your support. And I know that many of you are auto tithers, so I want to thank you up front. And for those who are not, you know, maybe consider becoming an auto tither. Make it easy to share your financial abundance with Inspire, so that we can all be abundant together in the flow of giving and receiving. Support the community that allows you to be spiritually fed. So invite you to make a donation at inspirespiritualcommunity.com/donate. You can also go to the email that you received, and there's a button there that will take you straight to the website to donate. And again, we thank you for your support, financial, with time, with your love, with sharing Inspire with others. There's so many opportunities to support Inspire so that we can continue to support you and expand our reach. So that's what we're moving into. This year is expanding our reach, so please help us. If you want to continue to see Inspire here and to benefit from Inspire, then please support us so we can continue on. Thank you so much. And with that, I'm going to invite Reverend Candice to give us our closing prayer.
So as we take a deep breath together, breathing in goodness, love, joy, kindness, compassion, we release that. I'm so grateful to be grateful this morning. I'm so grateful for this power this presence and this life that I know as love itself. Love, the big love that we also call God. I'm so grateful that this presence is always, ever being what it is at every moment, in every space, that truly it is all that there is. This love, we are awash in it. We wear it. It is our guide. It is our protector, our all in all. And I'm grateful to know that this presence is the very life of each person that is on this Zoom right here, right now. It is the very life of each person that is on this entire planet. This love presence, our real nature and being. And I'm grateful to know that all of its verities, all of its qualities, are who we are intrinsically. And so I just bless this magnificent, wonderful, Inspire community that continues to stand for love, to stand for kindness, compassion, generosity, creativity, that we are artists of the soul, and that we get to do that, we get to be that. As we leave our service this morning, we remember that we are free. Freedom is ours, and we say yes to it. We move out into the world, into a greater expression of all that wants to come forth in, through, and as us. And I am grateful for this. I'm grateful that there is a spiritual law that always fulfills itself, that this law is love, and that we walk in it, we live in it, we come from it, it is our beingness, and therefore this is so. And we let it be so here and now by saying, and so it is. Amen.
Amen. Gorgeous. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Reverend Candice. Thank you, Jazzmun. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Inspire. You are blessed and a blessing. And please continue to go forth, shine your light, be free, and show off that freedom. Let everybody catch it. I love you.